Okay, so I guess we're waiting for people. I'm trying to make this screen better. Okay, I don't know whether we have anyone yet. Okay, so I guess we're all here for this. I'm supposed to invite people, right? Okay. All right. So let me see whether I can do a screen share. And what contents? Okay, entire screen. Share. Wow. Okay. I really don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm not going to do that then. It is, let me see. Oh, we have one viewer. Hi, I don't know who you are. Maybe you can address yourself. But we're going to start doing this webinar, right? I'm going to see whether I can pull up my slides. Okay, I'm going to put them here. Okay, so thanks for joining. This is Raj from Safety at Work. Now, we've got a lot of questions about safety culture and safety behavior and how do you influence culture. And we decided to set up this free safety culture webinar. Okay, so maybe I can start with what's my background like. I'm just like you, I'm just a normal safety guy who's been around for a while. I've been doing construction, oil and gas, offshore, onshore jobs, and I've been visiting a lot of countries to see what's happening around the world and also to influence behaviors and solve problems for companies like Shell, Saudi Aramco, Sadaf, PTTEP, a few others, right? Just to name some of them off the top of my head. Now, here's the thing. I always tell people that, look, you need to invest in yourself. And it is very much like a hungry baker. You are happily making bread for everyone else except yourself. So you need to take some time to feed yourself as a person. You need to nourish your soul, nourish your brain, get new ideas, get better ideas so that you can be a better safety professional and you can add value to someone. Okay, we've got more participants joining in. All right, so I just helped myself to explaining who I am. My name is Raj. I'm from Safety at Work, and this is what I do. I provide this safety culture advice and organizational behavior advice to people and companies, and we've done a lot of work for Shell and other people. So what we're trying to do here is to talk to you about this hearts and minds programs, and of course what's hearts and minds and how things are formed. Okay, so I was saying that you're like a hungry baker, and you need to nourish your soul. You need to understand what's going on so that you can add value to someone. Okay, I'm going to ask a question and see whether there's anybody around who wants to ask a question. Okay, because I like to know who's on board. Okay, I don't know who's there. I'm quite new to Google Hangouts, so I'm trying to figure this out just like you. Okay, and I know that this is live and it'll be recorded, so whatever I say will be there forever. Okay. Anyway, back to safety culture and back to safety. Now, I like to comment that you as a leader, right, you need to have skills in leadership. And in terms of leadership, you need to understand that there's inspirational motivation, there's idealized consideration, there's intellectual simulation, there's also influence, idealized influence. So all this plays a part with leadership, and that's what you do. Because in safety, I keep saying this, you're selling a message. You can't force people to do things, not in this day and age. You need to share with them, you need to influence them, you need to inspire them to change. Okay, and if the individual changes, if he gets better at his job, if he gets more motivated, if he embraces challenges, he learns from others, the company grows as well. The company gets better. So as a person, if you have a team of people who are really highly skilled and competent, the organization gets better. Okay, right? And I think you guys are all safety guys out there, and you've seen this. When you're there, safety level is up there. The moment you turn your back, it starts dropping, goes down, and then when you come back again, it goes up again. So it's always this curve, this sine wave going up and down. But my question is, do you think you can be there all the time? If you got a construction site, you're doing some tunneling works, you're doing anything, do you think you can be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to patrol or manage the people there? I don't think so. I don't think anybody can do that or wants to do that. So those who just join in, I don't know how to share my slides. Okay, I'm going to try and screen share. Oh, I think I can. I don't know whether you're seeing this. Okay, so I'm actually sharing this. Okay, so what I'm saying is that when you're there, there's always a lot of focus. There's a lot of focus on safety and health and behavior up there. But the problem is when you're not there. When you're not there, things begin to slide. Things happen such that your workers start doing things, your supervisors start taking shortcut, and then when something happens or when you're back, safety goes up, safety performance goes up. So this is a very important point to note. Okay, so it's a very important point to note. When you're there, the focus is on safety. When you're not there, focus goes down. Or when the company is running well, everything is perfect, but then the moment that you take your eye off safety, everything drops until there's a fatality or there's an issue, there's a government edict or fine or penalty, then it starts going back up. Now, the question is this: it almost seems like you're trying to push a rock up a building. And sometimes I pity the safety guys because that's what we're doing. We think that we are trying to change the culture by forcing people up a mountain. And the problem here is that when you move away, that rock starts going down again. Performance drops. So my question to you, my statement is, wouldn't life be a lot easier if everybody just did what they're supposed to do? Won't life be better if in the company everybody just did what they were told and they just took initiative to do things, to work well? Right? Won't it be great if you didn't have to tell them to follow the safety rules and they followed the safety rules? That would be really ideal. Okay. Or if they saw something wrong, they corrected that. Now, safety performance depends on the culture of the company. And the culture is basically the way that you do things, right? The way that you do things. Okay. So I'm going to stop here for a while just to see whether there's any questions, whether you're still awake or you've gone back to work or you're really interested in what we do. Okay. Okay. So if there are no questions, now moving on. Now, as a CEO or as an MD or as a manager or a safety director or safety manager, do you think your employees or your contractors are performing to the best of their abilities? Do you think that they are performing safety tasks in the best way possible? Do you think that they are motivated to do the right things? Do you think they can be motivated to do better? And will they do the right thing even if nobody is looking or nobody is watching? Now, Shell a long time ago in the 80s asked the same questions that you guys are asking. That's like 30 years ago. So they engaged some of the best universities, the best professors, the best psychologists, the best whoever they wanted to get because they had money to answer the problems that you are facing right now. How do you get someone to be inspired or to be motivated, to be intrinsically motivated to do the right thing all the time? So they ask these questions. And I've got a question for you. In your organization, what do you think is your biggest asset as well as your biggest threat? Okay. So my view is that it's people. People can be your biggest assets because people make things happen. They solve problems, they do things, they get jobs done. Without people, we can't do anything. But at the same time, people can be our biggest threat. Why I say this is because they have a brain and they find a way around issues. They find a way around problems. Okay, they find a way about doing stuff. Even if you don't give them a solution, they'll find a way to make it happen. Sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong. Okay, so people can be your biggest assets as well as your biggest threats. Now, take a look at Gulf of Mexico, the BP incidents. Okay, so I'm going to share just the pictures with you. Okay, take a look at BP, Gulf of Mexico, the thing that happened, or even Texas City, right? Or closer to Asia in Jurong shipyard, in a shipyard, an oil rig almost toppled. Okay, and of course, I like to share this with people. Hold on, my screen has started slowing down. Don't know why. Okay, I'm going to try it again so that you can see what I normally tell people as well. Okay, now to me, all these companies have, except the last one here, right? That's a good company, but the rest of the companies have a common history. Right? What's the common history is that they all faced or face or will face an issue. The issue is created by people. Okay, a couple of years back, this was the okay. I know my system is a bit lagging. Okay, so a couple of years ago, Shell also had an issue. Okay, I'm going to try and screen share again. Oh, okay. Can you see that? I hope you see that now. I'm learning Google Hangouts as I walk through this. Okay, Shell also had an issue. Oil giant takes precautionary action, declares erratic blaze extinguished. Now, yeah, so even Shell had issues, and this was some time ago, 3, 4 years ago, right? Okay, so everybody had some issues, and companies, big or small, face issues. Whether it's Gulf of Mexico, BP, Texas City, they all face issues because of people. People can be good, and people can cause issues, right? So the question would be, should you do something about it? Should you take action? Right? And my other question is, should you care? Because it's not your company, right? Some people say, look, I'm only going to work here for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You don't own the company, so should you care? Should you do something about it? And do you care? Right? And I think you have to start from somewhere. You have to start asking the question, so what should we do? Where should we start? And you have to be honest about it as well. What's the culture like in your organization? And if you want to change something, you got to be the change. You can't expect other people to change because you can't force change. You can influence, you can inspire, but you can't force. Right? There's a statement that I always use: leaders do, people follow. So if you want to be a leader or declared a leader, then you got to do things. You don't just tell people to do it. Okay. Now, I'm going to just share something with you. Okay, I don't know whether you see this now. I think you do. A long time ago, this was what we used to see. Okay. This was okay. This was the norm. This was what we accepted. People working on high-rise buildings and then deciding, okay, we are going to have lunch. So that was okay then. Would it be accepted today? Would it be accepted now? Okay. And that's the thing that you've got to understand. There's a lot of things that happened, a lot of research that has been done, a lot of ideas and tools that are out there in the marketplace that help you do your job, that give you ideas, give you solutions, give you tools. And problems keep happening. But if you have the right tools, the right strategy, you can solve them. Now, you have to bear in mind, you can't force change upon people. People need to change from within. Change needs to start within people, in their hearts and their minds. So that's why the programs that Shell uses are called winning hearts and minds, because you got to win over their hearts and minds. Hey, we've got another viewer. Thanks for joining. You're a bit late. We're trying to catch up on what's hearts and minds and why you should be the change and what you need to do. Okay, so we obviously have moved forward a lot from what we used to accept 50 years ago, 100 years ago in terms of safety to where we are now. But as a safety professional like you are, or a manager or CEO, you're thinking, how else can we change and do things? Okay, I'm going to stop here just for a while to see who's online. Um, is there anyone else online? I know there's one more person online. Okay, welcome here. So let's see. All right, we'll carry on from now. Okay, so Shell decided that, look, there was an incident somewhere else in the 80s, and they had the same facilities, the same kind of equipment, the same kind of tools, the same kind of people, even people trained in the same area and living in the same country, that the incident happened, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't have the same incident. So they hired all these universities and all these researchers to do something. So they developed this toolkit, working with all the universities, Leiden, Manchester, Aberdeen, and professionals, and called it the Winning Hearts and Minds program. And the program uses tools and techniques, okay, to manage safety, right? Manage safety as in, like, not tell people what to do, not tell people that they need to do all this, but rather influence change. It was about getting everyone to work safely, not because they were told, but because they wanted to. There's a big difference. Okay, so how did they do it? Now I'm gonna just screen share this. Okay, so now we all know that incident rates a long time ago were very high because the risk that people took to get jobs done and the lack of awareness or understanding. Okay, and basically to solve that problem, you put in technology and standards, and incident rates will go down. Okay, once they go down, what happens is that it stagnates. And if it stagnates, you need to put something else in place. And then they decided, okay, let's put in management systems. And yes, incident rates went down, but after that, it started stagnating again. So as any good safety professional or individual rather would do, is think about how we can improve this culture here, how we can bring this from here all the way down to zero. And to do that,
Are you on it? You're not.
I can hear voices. And to do that, basically, we need improved culture, right? So you need an improved culture to get you there. Now, let me just continue on. Okay. Uh, okay. So there was a lot of research done. A lot of good things came out of the Hearts and Minds. Well, when Shell was doing the Hearts and Minds research and development, a lot of things came out. And they even took ideas from Professor James Reason, the Swiss cheese model, where basically you have your hazards and you might have your end result, your undesirable outcome, and you can put in your barriers to not have that undesirable outcome. But unfortunately, all your barriers have holes in them. And when the holes align, right, when they align, basically when they align, your hazard or your risk leads to an undesirable outcome. Okay, it's a simple thing. Okay, but they also realize that, look, Shell has technology, or companies have technology, they have management systems, but what's lacking is behavior. It's about the improved culture. Okay, so I'm going to share another thing with you, right, which is the Clapham Junction, right? This is something that I use all the time. I use this to explain what happens when, let me share this again, a different view of it. Okay, 3 trains collided at the same time, right? So there was one train that had stopped, the one in black, after passing amber signal, right, after passing a red signal actually. And then there was another train from behind that came all the way and rammed right into the back of it, at the same time as there was another train that was going the opposite direction. Now you might be thinking it's not possible, right? It's not possible to have 3 trains colliding, but it was possible, and it did happen, because when it happened, this was the result. right? If you can see this, basically 3 trains collided. One that stopped, the other one that came all the way from the back right into this train, and some of the carriages flung and hit the other oncoming train. Now, if I remember correctly, 35 or 55 people died, and at the same time, there were hundreds that were injured. And they decided to do an inquiry, right, to see what was the cause of this incident, right? And they realized that, at the same time, people further down at Clapham Junction were doing changes or changing out of wires in the relay room, or the junction house, right? And they were changing out these wires, but not of the relay that gave the wrong signal that caused the train to stop. The first train that had stopped had passed the stop signal, and as it passed, it had to stop, the train operator had to get down and call the station and say he had passed the signal at danger. Okay, and as he was doing that, the signal had changed back to green, and the other train kept on going. And they realized that the signal was controlled by a relay box. Although this was not the relay box that was being worked on the day, the week before there was another relay box that controlled that wrong signal that was worked on. And they realized that the technicians were not following the instructions or the requirements. And the judge in charge of the case or the inquiry decided it's not just the technician's fault or issues or problems, but rather he needed to speak to the supervisor in charge. Now, the funny thing about this is that when he spoke to the supervisor, right, a guy named Bromstead, technician was called Hemingway. He spoke to Bromstead, and then after that, he said, "Look, did you check on your men's work? Did you follow up with what they were doing?" And Bromstead said, "I'm too busy doing my work." He was actually also working at the ground level. So he was very busy doing work, so much so that he couldn't check on his people. And then Anthony Hidden, the judge, went on to speak to Dre, the manager in charge, and asked him a whole suite of questions again. Did you know about this procedure, that procedure? And this guy said, "Oh, I know that there was a procedure that existed, but I wasn't sure whether it's implemented." So there was a lot of sloppy work. Some people knew about some procedures, some people didn't know about some procedures, some people were not supervising others, and was all the way up. And it was the organizational culture that was wrong, right? So although you will never have an incident as big as that happening in your workplace, I hope, but basically you can put in all your controls, all your technology, your standards, your management systems, but if people don't follow, or people don't take in and do what they're supposed to do, you'll always have incidents, right? Now, if you want to change behavior in people, then you need to give control back to people. People need to have a feeling that they have sufficient degree of control over what they do and the environment. And then their beliefs and their beliefs will be consistent with their values. And of course, if you give them wrong rewards, like, sometimes people just give rewards, "Oh, good job," at the end of the year, but throughout the year the guy has been slacking. What you're telling the person is it's okay to slack for 11 months in a year, as long as in December you buck up. So it might change the way people behave, right? So you need to understand how culture works and how people behave. And this is what Hearts and Minds is really good at. What Hearts and Minds gives people is ownership of the environment, that they can do something about the area that they're in, that they have a sense of ownership of the solution, that they are the solution, they can influence change, they will have a bigger self-worth, the abilities to make changes in their environment, and of course, soft skills. That they will have soft skills to solve these problems. Because I keep saying this, a good welder may not make a good welding supervisor. A person fresh out of school from the university may not make a good manager, because what we were told in school and what's in the real life may be totally different. We need to know how to deal with people, and that's something that the Hearts and Minds tools really does help with. Okay, and these tools are, well, designed basically to fit any and all work locations. It needs a good facilitation, but it can fit any work location. And of course, when you roll it out or roll out any program, it should not be, oh, it's another management initiative. Okay, it cannot be also, look, oh look, another silver ball, oh let's throw the old one away and then start new one. You cannot throw away all the hard work that you've done in the past by taking up something new. Okay, and there's a lot of hard work done into the Hearts and Minds tools. There's a lot of scientific research done to make it look not scientific. Okay, and it works with small groups to find issues. It works with departments. It works with whole organizations. Now, change process. I'm just going to show you this simple diagram, and you can find it in the Hearts and Minds toolkit as well. Okay, I hope you're seeing this. Initially, there's ignorance. I'm going to take a sip of water while you're absorbing this. Now, change process works this way. Initially, there's ignorance. Then there's awareness. First, you don't know that you have a problem. Then you realize that you do have a problem, and you start thinking, okay, how do I get over this problem? You start making plans, and then you start taking action. And of course, you have to keep improving it. You have to keep it alive. You have to maintain it. So you make plans again, and then you do it again. So it's like learning how to cycle or learning how to drive. Initially, you don't know that you need to learn how to drive. It sounds easy. Then you realize that, oh, you don't know how to cycle, you don't know how to drive. You're made aware of the issue. Then you start making plans to get better at it. Then you start taking action. And just like cycling, running, or doing anything in life, you have to do it continuously to get good at it. And then you have to keep improving on it. Okay. Now, the Hearts and Minds kits help people realize that. They help people realize that they were ignorant about an issue, and then they don't have the tools or ability to solve it. Now they are aware of the problem. They can make things happen. Okay. And another important point about the Hearts and Minds toolkit, I like to use this diagram a lot. Okay, is actually this thing called the culture ladder. Okay, where companies or organizations or departments start off as pathological, and over time they become reactive, right? Where pathological, they think, look, as long as we don't get caught, that's fine. And then of course reactive is where when you have an incident, let's put out some banners, let's do some training, and after a while we forget. Then they move up to calculative, where, hey, we have a system, we have a management system, we have toolkits, we have this, we have that, we have checklists, etc. Uh, you know, we try and manage safety. Now, after a while, they become proactive, where we work on problems that we still find, where we solve issues. You know, yeah, we're not the best, but we're getting there. And then one day, they will become generative, where they start thinking, okay, this is how we do a business, how we work around here. And you also notice that with growth, they become increasingly informed. People around them know what each other is doing, what everyone else is doing. And of course, they build better trust, right, as they grow as an organization. Okay, or they grow as a mature organization rather. right? So that's the safety culture ladder. Now, that's part of the toolkits. It teaches you how to assess your culture. Now, you're probably going to think, okay, how do I implement this? Now, the Hearts and Minds model is a top-down and bottom-up uh, program. Top-down has to show an interest. They have to start asking questions. They have to ask about success. They have to start setting expectations. They have to praise people. They have to do the right things even. They have to lead by example. Not easy, but they have to. Then bottom up is the workforce being involved. That they think, yeah, this is fun, this is good, this is great. They become believers, they become champions, right? Change agents. Now, you also have to know that behavior is the thing that you see. The actions that people do is the thing that you see. But you got to start thinking a little bit deeper. Okay, this is the action that you see. You see someone doing something. You see the intent. You don't see the intention, but the intention caused him to do something, him or her to do something. The intention was formed by the individual's perceptions and beliefs. And this was done through his or her past experiences. And his or her past experiences were formed by either management, colleagues, public, family, even when they're young, friends, neighbors, etc. So it's not just the behavior that's important. You need to understand where it all came from. Okay, so sorry if you don't see this, I'm going to show it to you again. You only see the behavior, but you need to understand behavior stems from the intention or the plan. And of course, that is formed from the individual's perceptions and beliefs, and that's formed or influenced by past experiences, and that is from family, friends, neighbors, religious beliefs, etc. Okay, so sorry, I'm really not that great at Google Hangouts. I'm trying, I'm learning, don't worry, it'll be better. Okay, so at this moment, do you have any questions before I move on to the tools itself? Okay, no, okay, then we move on. Okay, I'm just going to show you one more slide that's that makes use of that model I just showed you earlier. Now, the behavior, the action, right? Normally it's direct causes. The guy slipped, the guy didn't hook up, the guy fell down, the guy ran a red light. Okay, but the individual's beliefs and perceptions form the preconditions. Okay, and the past events or the influencing environments form the underlying causes. Because if you don't change this, he will commit the same issue again, right? Until you fix that. By having barriers in place, you're only stopping the inevitable from happening for now. But it will happen again because he believes that he can do it. He knows that he can do it. He thinks in the past it's been done before. Okay? And when I say he, it could be a he or she. Sorry if I sound one-sided. Now, the Hearts and Minds Toolkit, what is it made of? Right? So, the toolkit is made of a lot of things. It's got a lot of brochures. I call it brochures or handouts for you to use, from understanding your culture to situational awareness, the rule of three, to improving supervision, to working safely, to managing rule breaking, even risk assessments is there. So it's up to you what you want to do, or making change last, right? So these are little things that you can use to change the organizational culture within your company. Okay, and What's understanding a culture? Basically, it lets the user, the person who has the toolkit, assess how he or she feels about their organization. And when they assess how they feel about their organization, then they can take action to improve it. Okay. Then there's also seeing yourself as others see you. It's a good toolkit for managers or supervisors so that you get to feel how other people see you. Then there's making change last so that you understand that once you implement something, how are you going to effectively roll it out and maintain it? Very important. There's the risk assessment matrix, which teaches you risk assessments or helps you teach others about risk assessments. Driving for excellence, it's more for the drivers so that you can use that to work with your drivers, your professional or casual drivers, etc. The situational awareness model, that's really good because in a quick couple of minutes you can tell people about the rule of three, so that green is a go, amber look out for it, and red is stop. And it's a simple tool to use. It's very, very useful. Of course, you've got your improving supervision module, which is really useful because you get to teach supervisors and help supervisors understand the skills that they need to be good leaders out there in the field, whether in the field or in the office, but basically at their jobs. And then you have the working safely module, which you can plan to do safe work at your workplace, right? Then there's the managing rule breaking, which helps you understand why people break rules and what to do when people break rules. Now, that explains in a very short nutshell what the toolkits are for. Okay. So, would you have any questions at this point of time? Okay, there's no questions for now. Okay, hold on. I've got something else that I wanted to share with you. Now, I'm going to share something here with you from the toolkit. Okay, this is actually from the improving supervision module. Okay, if you can see, these are the 4 behavioral aspects of leadership. There is team leadership. How do you develop team leadership? There's communication. How do you improve communication between one party to another? There is work-related behaviors. How do you become a role model? And what you do is more important than what you say. There's motivation and trust. Then, of course, there's planning, your day-to-day planning, your job planning, your day-to-day personal planning, and how do you respond to incidents. Now, this gives people an understanding what it takes to be a leader, to improve their own leadership skills. Now, the hearts and minds modules do cover this. So it's actually very good to understand how do you improve, especially we all know that site guys are not soft skill trained, and you know that you need soft skills right now to manage people. So you need to know how to influence and impress the buttons of people. Okay, I want to know whether there's any questions right now. If not, I'll go to the questions that were asked via email. Okay. All right. Since there are no questions, I'm going to go to the questions that were asked through an email. Okay. Raj, when is the next Hearts and Minds event? I missed the last one. When's the next Hearts and Minds event? Well, good news. Well, bad news actually. This month, in the month of March, I'm flying very often. I'm going to Myanmar and South Korea. Sorry, and I just came back from UK. So this month we're not having a Hearts and Minds. We're having a Hearts and Minds event on the 17th of April. check out our Facebook events page, and also you can check us on LinkedIn as well. We have posted some stuff there. Okay, so 17th of April, I hope to see you there at the Hearts and Minds event. Okay, how can I apply to Hearts and Minds? Okay, so basically this person is asking, they're interested in Hearts and Minds. They're asking, how do I sign up for Hearts and Minds? Well, send us an email to contact@safetyatwork.com.sg. Okay. All right. How long does this workshop last? Now, we've done these workshops for good companies for over a week or 10 days, but the ones that we're doing in Singapore right now last 1 day. We're going to give you an insight on the tools. We're going to teach you how to use them. And it's basically a day's workshop. You can attend here in person in Singapore with me as your host, as your facilitator, or we can set up a video conference, but we'll need to send you the training materials and the toolkits and all the things that you need. And then you log in and we'll get you going online, right? It'll still be a workshop, but it'll be online for you. So you got two options. One, you can come here, attend in person, and the other one, you can attend via a video conference, but we'll need to get your address to send you the materials, right? Now, any other questions before I add those questions that were sent to me by email? Sorry, I've got a whole list of questions that I have to attend to. Okay. If you have questions, you can move to, you can just add questions in your comments, or there's a Q&A portion. Okay, you can submit your questions to me and they'll appear in front of me and I can answer your questions. All right. Can I attend even if I'm jobless? Yeah, definitely. Why I say this is because oh, there's another question. Okay, but why I say this, can I attend even if I'm jobless? Yes, definitely. The Hearts and Minds certification that we give out will help you get your chances of getting a job. Why this case? Because then people know that you have a changed mindset, that you are much better at dealing with situations, that you can be a good leader, right? So definitely, if you're not looking, if you're looking for jobs, you should upgrade yourself. Okay? Now the question I'm going to answer is, if I attend Hearts and Minds, will it really help me get a job? Will it really help me with getting a job? Yes, definitely. Why? Again, back to it. Companies want to hire people who have good CVs and good understanding and know how to influence behavior on site. You don't want to hire a policeman. You don't want to hire a security guard. You want to hire someone who can get things done. And the Hearts and Minds program will get you to that level. Of course, you have to apply the knowledge that you've just learned. Okay. Next question. Is it a real added value on my CV? You will find the Hearts and Minds training on my CV. You will find it on my LinkedIn. If I say that it's good value for me, I think it's good value for you. So yes, the Hearts and Minds certification can increase your chances because the Hearts and Minds program is really well known. Companies know of the Hearts and Minds program. People in Middle East, people in Asia, people in US all have heard of the Winning Hearts and Minds program. And if you really want to be a specialist in safety and safety culture, this is what you should be doing, because that's how I got started in safety culture. I attended the Hearts and Minds workshops. I learned from the best, and then I started taking off from there. Okay, so with which major companies did you do Hearts and Minds so far? Shell is an obvious first answer that I have for you. I've done Hearts and Minds for Shell since 2006. Yeah, till now. Saudi Aramco is another big, great company that I've worked with to do Hearts and Minds. Petronas is another big company that have done the Hearts and Minds programs. Then of course there's local companies and other companies that are huge. I've done a company that's got 20,000, 20 something thousand people worldwide, and it's a construction company, and they wanted to do Hearts and Minds. Okay. Um, yeah, there's more questions coming up now. Okay, so I'm gonna add some stars. If I attend Hearts and Minds, will it really help me with getting a job? Yes. Yes, it will. Because companies know of this Hearts and Minds program. They definitely know. It's worldwide. I mean, people have been searching for Hearts and Minds program for a long time. And that's how I fly around a lot too, because people engage me for Hearts and Minds. And I dare to put the Hearts and Minds program on my CV and my LinkedIn account. So I think it's a good program to have on your CV. Okay. Okay. How can I change the mindset of workers in my company? You know how? Come for the Hearts and Minds program. But seriously, you can't force them to change. It will only get you so far. And when you force people, they will stay at a certain level. When you look away, they will do something else. So you got to influence change. You got to inspire them to be changed, right? So if you want to change the mindset of your workers, first of all, you got to change yourself. You got to come for the workshop. You got to upgrade. You got to speak the right lingo. You got to do things right. You got to set the example, because you're worth more in terms of image rather than talking. Okay, so you got to do that, and then you can influence the change in your workers. Starts from you, starts from your management, starts basically from you first. Okay, how do I change my company's culture? Hey, we got another guy joining us. How do I change my company's culture? Before you start to change the culture, you need to be aware of who you are. Where are you right now? Before you start saying, oh, I need to implement change, you need to find out exactly what you think about your organization's culture, what your people think about their organization culture, what other people think about the culture within the company. Okay, and there's no wrong answer. If someone tells you, I feel the company's culture is lousy, you can't tell them, then you got to change your mind. No, you got to accept it. Might be hard because it's perception. You got to accept it and then see what we can do to improve that perception. Okay, and it starts with you. It starts with the individual before the whole company. Okay, any other questions before I go on to the other questions here? And for the newcomers who just joined us, it'd be great if I can find a way to see who you are. Okay. For the newcomers who just joined us, thank you. Okay, there's more questions. Can you organize a corporate event for my company? Yes, we can. That's how Petronas got us. That's how Saudi Aramco got us. That's how Shell got us. Yes, we will do private events for companies as well. Right? Because then all you need to do is send us an email at contact@safetyatwork.com.sg and we will attend to you. Okay. Whoa, this is a tough question. How does Hearts and Minds help me assess the safety culture of my company? How does Hearts and Minds help me assess the safety culture of my company? Now, if you have the Hearts and Minds toolkit, the understanding your culture actually helps you understand how you feel, how you perceive your company culture to be. So the Hearts and Minds toolkit, if you open it up, you've got 18 dimensions. Now, if you're a supervisor, you use 9 dimensions. If you're a manager, you use another 9 dimensions. Then you do a scorecard. When you do the scorecard, it gives you what's your perception, where you are. Are you pathological, or do you feel that your company is pathological? Do you feel your company is reactive? Do you feel your company is calculative or proactive or generative? And when you find that, okay, I feel my company is reactive, the trick here is, so how do you get from reactive to calculative? what do you need to do to get it from reactive to calculative? You need to focus on what's your lagging dimensions, what dimensions are lagging, okay? Then from there, try and fix those. And by fixing those, how do you fix those? The Hearts and Minds Toolkit, you cannot say, okay, I'm going to appoint someone to fix it for me. No, you're going to fix it yourself. You're going to do things. You're going to take action that's going to fix or solve the problem. Example. This is going to be a very simple example. If you think your company culture is pathological and you need to get it up to reactive, okay, reactive. And so one of your dimensions could be that you don't do enough safety observations or whatever else. So one of the things that you could do is, from today onwards, every Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, I will, okay, I always like to start with I will first. I will, from today onwards, every Monday at 8 o'clock, stand in front of the security gate to catch people who come in with flip-flops or slippers and ask them to go home and change to their shoes. Okay. Why? You might be thinking, Raj, that's catching people, that's like a policeman. But don't forget, you felt your culture was pathological, and now you need to be reactive. Reactive means when you see something, you do something. So you see someone wearing slippers, you tell them to go home. You can't change your culture to proactive without going through the steps one by one. Okay, you can't just jump to generative or proactive. You need to go step by step. So how Hearts and Minds helps you assess your company culture, your toolkit helps you do that. From there, you take action to improve the culture, right? So any questions for now? Especially for the newcomers, I know you missed out on quite a bit, but I think the wonderful thing about Google Plus or Google Hangouts is that after this will be converted into a video and you can watch it, okay? And I apologize if we have some technical issues because I'm not so good with Google Hangouts yet, but we'll get there and we'll do more of these later on. So any questions for now? Right, you can use the comment box or the question box to write me some questions if you have questions, or if you have any opinions or suggestions, right? I'll be very willing to share the screen time with you. Yeah, I just don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to change and set the screen time with you. Any statements, any questions? Oh, I think there is a question. How do companies implement Hearts and Minds? Sorry, I was not reading the thing properly. How do companies implement Hearts and Minds? Okay, first of all, you need to assess your culture, your organization culture. Where are you? Then you come up with a strategy to see what you need to do to get from here to there, to get from good to great, or to get from bad to good. Okay, so you implement Hearts and Minds through rolling out the programs. And first and foremost, I think you should personally attend one of the workshops. Then I can share more information with you. Okay, when's the next webinar? Okay, we're still deciding. I know the next event is going to be 17th of April 2015. Okay, so what's going to happen then is that you can come to a live event. We're going to go through the Hearts and Minds workshop with you. And those that can't make it will have a private event for you online where you can then join us. okay? But we need your address so that we can ship the materials to you. The Hearts and Minds Toolkits is a good quality toolkit for you. So, so do come on over, okay? Join us. So when's the next event? 17th of April. Okay, let me see whether I can. Um, oh, okay. So I'm supposed to put it up there. Oops, sorry. When is the next event? 17th of April. Okay. Any further questions? Any other things that you like to get off your chest, or you like to know about culture and organizations and how you influence safety? Now, I wish I had a guest list because I see guests, but I don't know who they are, so I can't really address you. Um, but if you can, do drop me some comments or views or questions rather. Okay. Well, it's been an hour. It's been an hour online, and I don't know whether more people will be joining us, but it's been a good little webinar, and maybe next time we'll promote it more first before we we do it. So if there's no other questions, I guess we'll probably have to sign out. All right. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. All right, guys, this is Raj from Safety at Work, your culture guru. Take care. Enjoy your day.